So I know I told you a lot this week. And so I want to focus on one of those leadership qualities that is going to help you try to get some of these things done. And so let's talk about courageous leadership. So, what does courageous leadership mean? It means that you're willing to take a risk. And you have to be willing to take the risk, and you have to be willing to accept that some things are going to fail, and it is okay. We learn from failure. So when you're working with your staff or your board or your donors, what does it really mean to have courage? It means that you're willing to build trust, right? And transparency. I think this is really key, the trust and transparency. When I say meet with your board chair and let them know the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's exactly what I mean. You need to be able to share with not only your board and your staff, but your donors as well. You need to share stories, and not just stories. You need to share stories of challenges as well. I remember when I had to make this mindset set shift. What I would do is I would go around, and I would say, we're serving this many kids. Like we're serving over 5,000 kids, and yeah, great number, great success, but there was 32,000 kids in our school district. 32,000 kids. So there were some challenges there. We were only serving 5,000. There was an opportunity there. And so being transparent about that opportunity and that challenge of of needing to grow and to expand so that you can increase the services, it was a challenge for me. But I had to make sure that I understood that it is okay to share again the good, the bad, and the ugly, but share it in a way that you're presenting an opportunity. So that in itself is going to build trust. It's going to build trust with your stakeholders, which is more than likely your staff, right? Your board and your donors. And so having this courageous leadership is very important for your success as a nonprofit CEO. Not only will it build trust, it will open up those lines again for effective communication. That is what we struggle with the most. We sit in our office or in front of our computer in our silo, and we don't communicate. We don't have the courage to communicate. We don't take the time to say, I am overwhelmed, to share that with your board. It is okay to say, I am overwhelmed and I need help with this, or I need help with that. You would be amazed that once you share that, the number of people that want to help. But you can't say in generalities, I need support. Because what they're going to say in turn is, well, I'm here to support you. You got to be specific with your communication. You got to use effective communication. How can board members support you? What specifically do you need them to do? So don't just say, well, I need your support. That's too general. Be specific with each individual. It is not a collective when it comes to this. Every board member brings their own talent to the table. And so if that board member is good at X, then say, I need you to do X. They will love the specificity. Forgive me on that word. They will love that. And not only that, you will get the support that you need. When it's dealing with staff, because I like to talk about courage and staff too, because I struggle with this as well. When you're dealing with staff, you have to make sure that you understand that you got to let go. You hire the right people and you let them do their job. And you cannot micromanage, right? And so one of the things that I did, because I don't know if y'all know this, I can be a control freak sometimes. And so one of the things that I did with my staff to help me and to also help them is we held bi-weekly we started out as weekly team meetings. As we grew, that got to be too much. So then we turned that into a bi-weekly team meeting. And then it turned into a monthly team meeting with Monday huddles. And that allowed us to have effective communication. And so at the meetings, we had an agenda. Everybody kind of talked about where they were at. They shared with me some of the challenges they had and how I could help them. And we were able to operate in that way. And then the Monday huddles, they were really about, okay, what do you need from me this week to get your tasks accomplished? And we told each other what we needed during that week. So you have to be able to empower your team, and your team is your staff, your team is your board, and you have to be able to do that. That takes courage. I know it takes courage because I had to do it. To rely on other people is very hard. You know, with yourself, you can count on yourself. You can be accountable to yourself, most of us, but to be relying on other people takes courage. The other thing I'm going to say that takes courage when it comes to donors, it is having that courage to share with donors, again, some of the challenges that you are facing, but not just that, also having that courage to have conversations with donors about the ask. A lot of people struggle with that. So if I gave you any homework from this, I would say go look up what courage means, define what courage means for you, see where you're struggling with courage and that ability to take a risk. Because I have seen that lack of the ability to take risk cripple nonprofit CEOs. And if you don't have that, it can be a real slippery slope. But you can build your courage. And that's why I say, if that is not one of your strong suits, there's so many books out there on courage, on delegating, on how to seek um, support. If you know that is one of your weaknesses, then go build that strength. Get yourself a good book. I love audiobooks. I'm a subscriber. I read books all the time. But find that book that will help you on that particular moment or that particular issue around courage and that fear of taking risks. I know some people are perfectionists. And so when they have that perfectionist mentality, they don't want to take a risk. But in order to be successful in this industry, this particular industry, you have to be willing to take risks. You have to be willing to be innovative. I do not embrace the limited mindset. I do embrace growth mindset, and but there are some realistic limitations to what we have at our disposal as a CEO of a nonprofit organization. And because we have those limitations, we have to be innovative. We have to have the courage to seek partnerships. We have to have the courage to go out there and network. We have to have that courage. And so there's some construction going on in my neighborhood. So I apologize if you hear that background noise, but it takes courage. So do you think that going live for me is easy? No, but it's taking courage. It is taking that risk. It's doing it despite being uncomfortable sometimes. So I'm going to invite you to step outside of your comfort zone and become a courageous leader, because you're going to need that to be successful in this industry. You have to build that courage up to ask for the people to serve on your board that you want. Ask for the donors to give to your organization. Ask your staff to perform. You have to have that courage to do those things. And if you don't, it's okay. You can learn that skill set, get you a good book. I'm trying to think of the best book that I've read on courage. I know From Good to Great has some things in there. The other book that I really like, um, and if you're new, this one in particular, but anytime you're facing any change, I read this book over and over and over again. It is called You're in Charge Now What? Because it takes courage to embrace change. So anytime that there is a change that's coming up for me, I pull out that book. You're in charge now what? And I got highlighted, I got tab pages, I got all of that. Because we all struggle with courage. Sometimes I'm boosting myself up. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a client yesterday, and she was at an event, and Tabitha Brown was at that event. And she's having this fundraiser in August that I'm helping her with. And she had to build up the courage to go ask Tabitha Brown would she consider being a keynote at her event. And she did. She built up the courage. She went to the correct, and they was like, you know what? Here's the card. Here's the email that no one has access to. Send us some information on it. She would love to do it. If the dates align, it'll be fine. But you know, she had to build up the courage. She's like, I was there. It was like the 10th hour. I was sweating. I didn't know, I knew this was a great opportunity. This opportunity doesn't come around a lot. So she built up the courage. And despite the fear, despite the sweat, despite all of that, she made the ask. And it's going to result in a great opportunity for her organization. And this is her first fundraising event. So if you have courage, courage is rewarded. You have to be bold. I cannot stress it again and again. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I didn't mean to make you cry, but I do know that you need this courage. And so embrace that courage. Go out and do some great things with this courage. Even when it feels uncomfortable for you, just shake it off and say, what's the worst that could happen, right? Step into that power, step into that boldness, step into having courage. Okay. So I'm gonna end with this because the noise is killing me in the background. But I will say this. I say your mission matters and deserves to be funded to its fullest capacity. And I want to let you know I'm having a 3-day board recruitment challenge. And if you comment board, I will share the link with you. Y'all be blessed and have a great day.